Look, Chicago's amazing theater scene that we are always bragging about. It really is for everybody. I'm talking about you, your nieces and nephews, your granny, your co-workers, the entire graduating class of '05. And now's the best time to explore it because Chicago Theater Week is back, my friends. February 5th through the 15th, you can find tickets across Chicago's theaters for $30, $15 holla, and even less. Discover new stories, revisit classics, and be a part of something bigger. Chicago Theater Week 2026 is February 5th through the 15th. Get your tickets now at chicagotheaterweek.com and support your local small theater. Chicago knows how to kick off a new year, and that's with great food. That's right, Chicago Restaurant Week is back from January 23rd through February 8th. The 19th annual event produced by Choose Chicago features prefix menus. I'm talking $30 for lunch and brunch, $45 and $60 for dinner at more than 500 restaurants across the city. You can use the website to see the full list or filter by cuisine type or use the map feature. But pro tip, make your reservations as soon as possible because they go quick. Explore participating restaurants and menus at chicagorestaurantweek.com and book your tables now. Today on CityCast Chicago, a redesigned food market opens in Inglewood. We got a few more days to enjoy Chicago Restaurant Week, and we've got an inside look at Southside lounge culture. It's Friday, February 6th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I am joined by two of my absolute favorite guests on the podcast from Block Club Chicago, Atavia Reed. Good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you as well. Thank you for having me.
We've also got freelance journalist and wine and culture expert Chastity Cooper in the building. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
We did our guide to February earlier this week, talking about all of the things we are looking forward to this month, including, of course, Black History Month. A lot of people excited for Valentine's Day next week. And then, Chastity, you dropped a story in my inbox this morning about McDonald's McNuggets Caviar in celebration of Valentine's Day. Tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, so pretty much I learned about this yesterday, and there's been a craze on social media where people are putting caviar on McNuggets. It's not a, super new thing. I, as a wine culture expert, love the savory and salty. I've been having like chicken tenders and caviar for a really long time. So it's cool to see a big brand like McDonald's really embrace this, social media trend that now everybody gets a chance to experience. And so even if you're booed up or if you're single, if you're having a Galentine's Day, I think it'll be really cool just to have fun with like finger foods and be able to kind of play around with textures and tastes.
Atavia, you trying to bring in a McNugget caviar meal to the Valentine's Day?
Look, first thought, maybe not. Second thought, I'm kind of open to trying anything. So I'm going to yes and it and say, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
This McNugget caviar kit is free. It's available online February 10th. They're going very fast. But, I might try my hand. I'll take a little McNugget, a little cream fresh, a little caviar, and a little $25 gift card that I will pass on to somebody in my life. I might see what it's hitting for. I haven't had a good crispy McNugget in a long ass time. And so I'm setting my expectations properly. But this is a little fun. I think this is nice, especially since you ain't really got to pay nothing for it.
Exactly.
Every single week we bring in these amazing people, not just to talk about their Valentine's Day plan, but to look back on some of the biggest stories happening in and around our city. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Legler Regional Library becoming just the second public library in the country with a food pantry on site. And this week, I learned about an initiative inside city colleges to achieve a similar outcome. Atavia, what's going on down in Inglewood?
Yeah, so at Kennedy King College, they recently celebrated the grand opening of the Statesman Market. City Colleges of Chicago developed the space in collaboration with the Greater Chicago Food Depository. And what they're really trying to do is combat food insecurity in the community. So a recent study that was done in 2024 found that 60% of students at Kennedy King College identified as food insecure, which was an astronomical number compared to the 50% of students across all 7 colleges
Mhm.
in the city. So this really will give students the opportunity to go to the store and grab food for free. And they can also get food for their families that they can bring home and cook. And people are just really excited about this new initiative.
Yeah, just to see that the goal is to expand this to every city college, all of the 7 campuses. The market allows people to come in and grab on the go snacks, frozen meals. There's fresh fruit inside. You can get your eggs inside of there. And I mean, this lives at the intersection of so many stories, particularly that deeply impact Inglewood, right? Not only from the divestment, we've seen a grocery store, the Walmart, up and pack and leave out. The initiative and the push to get a new one really brought community members out. We talk about SNAP benefits and how they are increasingly under attack from the federal government. And so many people became more vulnerable just this month as those restrictive regulations went into effect. And so it's really good to see that not only is city colleges expanding this program, but one thing I've heard from food advocates is people who are trying to shop, trying to bring resources into their home, they still want to be a dignified shopper. They still want to feel like they have autonomy in the process. And shout out to everyone who is, packing love fridges and packing produce boxes and giving away free groceries. But the idea that people are able to still have choice in the process and pick the things they need, that they're able to come in, at some point throughout the week. Their hope is to be open about 40 hours throughout the week. And so it's just another way Kennedy King College is providing for the neighborhood. Atavia, a year or so ago, we talked about the student-run restaurant coming back to the college. And so it's just good to see the investment in these particular programs.
Yeah, and when I spoke with student Tiara Davis, she kind of emphasized that. So Kennedy King College previously had a food pantry, but it operated inside of a classroom. So it was kind of the smallest space. People could still go in and grab the free food. But the thing with the Statesman Market is that it's a much larger space. It's very bright. It's green. It really just looks like you're shopping within a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So students like Tiara Davis can feel like, they're shopping with dignity when they go in there, when they need to grab food for their family to cook later. And that's really what the City Colleges is trying to do, hopefully, at the other colleges across the city.
Mm-hmm.
I just think this is such an amazing initiative. I think back to a couple years ago, my sister was involved in running a food pantry up north in Evanston, in our hometown. And so just, again, having the bright space, having the selection, having just the accessibility for people who may be food insecure to come and shop and have these resources to feed their families in a really healthy way. So that's amazing. And I remember being a college student and I got tired of food in the cafeteria. Being able to go off campus was a luxury, but Wegmans got expensive over time. So if this tends to be like a pilot program for other colleges, not in just Chicago, but across the country to implement, it'd be really dope to see that.
No, that's such a great point. I remember being in college and I was on SNAP benefits, and you get to that last week and a half, all your benefits are gone and you are scrapping by. But the idea that there was a place that I could have gone just to get a couple of eggs, but also some trash bags, right? Get some toilet paper, get those necessities that towards the end of the month, you are really starting to make that decision between the light bill and the groceries. Also this conversation around providing more space for people, whether it's at the library, at the colleges, really shows how committed the city is to growing these initiatives. But some people have come out this week, Atavia, and asked, all right, what about that? Wasn't there a plan to maybe open a city-run grocery store, open these public markets that we heard from Brandon Johnson a couple years ago when he first came into office? Has there been any progress on that? Have we learned any more about that?
A story dropped Thursday morning from Chicago Tribune, really investigating this topic. So previously, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said that he planned on opening a city-owned grocery store. That momentum stalled; it has dropped, and now instead, the city is saying that they plan on opening a public market, which people who are experts are saying is something that would be more doable if the city actually does move forward compared to opening a grocery store. But it is really kind of a wait and see game, kind of like what happened with the grocery store plan.
100%. We've talked to community advocates and also some experts who have helped launch markets, food pantries, farmers markets in neighborhoods across the city. And they made it very clear. On one hand, we know the city, particularly South and West Side neighborhoods, are facing a crisis of resources, right? Over the last few years, we've seen all types of retail stores, from Walmart to Whole Foods to Walgreens to Save a Lot. Every type of convenience store, grocery store on that chain have closed in these neighborhoods. And the city up front offers a bunch of tax incentives and a bunch of benefits. And then on the back end is sort of left sort of holding their hands open, wondering what they can do to incentivize these major chains. Unfortunately, as we've learned from those people, not only opening, but maintaining a grocery store is a very difficult business, right? Getting the land, getting the type of refrigeration and systems you need inside, making sure that you have access to, sort of a stable set of vendors inside of it. And so I'm not shocked that the mayor's plan has shifted over the years. And, I appreciate that we have still seen some investment in this plan, that we're seeing that food security is still top of mind. But my hope is that plan isn't completely wiped off the table, because, again, we see how much this means to neighborhood, how important this is in communities. One thing Chicago gonna talk about is our architecture. I bet any single person listening right now could probably point out a fun fact about one of our historic buildings. You done probably took your people on the riverboat tour, or at the very least, you out here shaming other people's skyline because it's not ours. Which is why it makes perfect sense that the Architecture and Design Film Festival has returned to the city for its 4th year at the Chicago Architecture Center. It's 10 films that explore architecture, design, creativity, and human connection. And we're not just talking about buildings. Themes range from graphic design to the architecture of NASA space shuttles to protected bike lanes. This year's festival is February 19th through the 22nd at the Siskel Film Center, and several of the screenings include discussions with the filmmakers who are flying in from all over the world. Find all the film trailers and ticketing information at architecture.org/filmfest. The Museum of Contemporary Photography at Columbia College Chicago is celebrating their 50th anniversary all year long. First thing you're going to want to do is stop by the exhibition MOCP at 50, Collecting Through the Decades. It's on view through May 16th, and it explores how the museum built their one-of-a-kind collection of nearly 18,000 artworks. Then mark your calendars for February 26th, because they throwing a little party. Darkroom is the museum's annual benefit auction. You can experience beautiful and thought-provoking photography, meet some artists, and enjoy food and drinks from around the city. So make some time to stop by soon. You can find info about the exhibition or buy tickets to Darkroom at mocp.org. Chastity, I want to get over to you. For the last 2 weeks, we have been promoting Chicago Restaurant Week, an initiative to bring people outside during the cold to experience new restaurants, go out to their favorites. I went out to some of my favorites. I got the deal. I went and said, let me get the Restaurant Week menu and try something new. Since most of my favorite restaurants know I'm getting the same 3-4 items. What have been your thoughts on Restaurant Week going into it? How did you feel about the deals? And now that we're almost out of it, how did you feel about the 19th annual?
I think it's such a great annual event for Chicagoans to go out to some of our most, treasured and coveted culinary spots here in the city. There's no argument, Chicago is the culinary institution of the country, if not one of them in the world. And
Hmm.
I know I love bragging about that wherever I go. Like, we have the best food here. And so to have that moment, and especially you thinking about like it's late January, early February, you're coming off the holidays, having 30, 45, $60 deals, and just so many restaurants being open to that accessibility. You think about like the Michelin star restaurants, the James Beard award winning restaurants that might seem out of touch for the everyday Chicagoan. Now you
Hmm.
get to go and have a taste, which is really, really cool. And so I wish I had more time to go to some of my favorites. I am going to one tomorrow. Just again, some of the restaurants are like American fare, but I tend to lean more on the side of like Asian cuisine,
Hmm.
or Mexican cuisine or Italian during this time. And so I'm excited just to see what I'm able to taste. Again, I don't want people to, if you haven't had the chance, you're not getting a full buffet, y'all. It's really a
Hmm.
taste. Like the
Hmm.
restaurants, and they have so much volume there's so many people coming in trying to just have that experience. So again, as somebody who's in the hospitality industry, please be patient. Please tip the serving staff, but also, it's an opportunity to taste what Chicago has to offer. And yeah, I think it's what makes us so unique as a city. Of course, other cities do Restaurant
Hmm.
Week, but I'm positive nobody does it like Chicago.
Yeah, I have heard people complaining the last few years that the deals wasn't dealing. And then going into this year, I will say, I followed the homie page Serena, and she was like, I did the whole spreadsheet. It looked better this year, y'all. I promise it's looking better, and they not paying me. What have you been hearing from people? How are they feeling about the places that are on the list, what they're getting once they go?
Yeah, so a lot of what I've been seeing on social media, of course, you have people who are like, "Ooh, I went to this restaurant for Restaurant Week," but then there is the criticism, like, "Okay, I really didn't get enough bang for my buck." I actually saw a story from the Daily Northwestern. It's focusing on like, Restaurant Week isn't that affordable for college students, which,
Mm.
if I were in college, I would, kind of be more
I didn't even know half these
mindful.
places existed.
Same.
I ain't
Exactly.
had no time to be on
I say,
infatuation.
oh, hello, exactly. But I think just, understanding again, some of these restaurants just want to allow for a taste. I think some people are going in with higher expectations than what is actually being delivered. And so it's really just you as a patron being cognizant of what your tastes are, really delving into the menus. Like, Choose Chicago does a great job as soon as, the day starts or the week starts, putting all the restaurant menus up. And I know I like to go through and like sift, like, okay, I've been to
Hmm.
ABBA. I know what ABBA has to offer. I'm not going to do that this
Lamb
year.
ragu
Maybe,
hummus,
hello,
Oh
we
extra
know it's
pita.
good.
gosh.
It's delicious. 365, 24/7. So like really just offering an opportunity to try something new. But the criticism, I understand it because I think again, a lot of people go in like, oh, I'm going to Esme, like I'm about to have the best experience, which you will have a
Hmm.
quality experience. But again, think about the season, think about what fruits and vegetables are in season, and kind of just be mindful of that when you are going to these restaurants.
Come on, that's an expert take right there. And luckily, if you miss Chicago Restaurant Week, ends on February 8th, that floats right into Chicago Black Restaurant Week that goes from the 8th to the 22nd. Is there any spot on this list for both of y'all that you want to pull up on over the next couple of weeks?
I will say Sanders barbecue. I know they are tired of seeing my face, but look, I will be there. I will be there again because now I can say it is Chicago Black Restaurant Week. So now this is why I'm here.
Hmm.
I just love this spot. I just really love the community that they're building in the Beverly neighborhood. It's small, it's family owned, but when you walk in there, it just really, it's an experience and the food is
Hmm.
always good. So I will 100% be there again.
Yeah. I'm excited for Mahari, which just opened in Hyde Park. Like I've been to Virtue, I've been to Daisy's, I've been to Ja Grill, which is also on the list. But Mahari, they've had a bunch of write-ups from the Hyde Park Herald to the Sun Times, the Block Club been covering it. They're in the former La Petite Foley space on 55th Street. And so that's a place I'm really excited for. Just the celebration of African, Caribbean, Creole, and Afro-Latino cuisine. Yeah, that's a place I'm excited for. What about you, Chastity? A spot on the list?
I was absolutely going to say Mahari as well. I just love fusion food. Like it's
Hmm.
so cool to see chefs just really get creative in bringing in different influences. So I'm really excited about that. And I have to go for a favorite of Bronzeville Winery. You're going to get, black owned wines and black backed brands on the wine list. The food is good. It's a trusted place in Bronzeville. So I would say those two places, and I might explore a couple others on the list
Hmm.
this Black Restaurant Week.
I will drop a link in the show notes so people can check out the entire Chicago Restaurant Week and Black Restaurant Week lineup. Atavia, I want to come back over to you to a story you just published titled How the Great Migration and Segregation Built the Southside's Black-Owned Lounge Culture. Let's get into this because people always got something to say about Chicago nightlife, what is and isn't popping, but Southside, that is just the phrase itself, so close to everybody on this call's heart.
So really just sharing how this story got started. It was around the holidays. I'm with my family. We're small, but we're loud. And the Block Club had just published a story about the city's essential dive bars. And I'm sharing it with my mom and my aunt goes, "Oh, that's nice. What's a dive bar?" And like
Facts.
we just start going and going and going. And my mom goes, "Okay, that's a dive bar, but that's what we call lounges, right?" And I just really wanted to dive into why. Like, why is that? So I decided to really dive into why on the south side of Chicago, but especially in Black Chicago, we call spaces where we seek community, good drinks, good music, a lounge. Is that rooted in Black history? How did it start to pop up? And of course, it's rooted in Black history, right? And it got its start in the Great Migration, and you can trace the roots, you can follow the music and go all the way back to the South to see how it got its start with juke joints and chitlin circuits and made its way to Chicago. And I spoke with bartenders, I spoke with lounge owners, I spoke with patrons, and what they really emphasize is that a lounge feels like family. Like more than once, people said it's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. You're going to get a strong pour at an affordable price. You're going to hear some good music. At some places that's R&B, at some places that's house music, and you're going to be able to talk about your day. After a long day of work, you can come in whatever you were wearing. People are just going to accept you. They're going to talk to you. Sometimes the crowds shift out, and later in the night, people come out, dressed to the nines. But still, it's really different from a club where people are kind of standing around holding their drinks, maybe isolated, maybe looking at the weather app on their phone. It's really a place where you're chatting it up and getting to know each other. Lounges are also a space usually for older crowds, which is what I heard. Most lounges, you got to be at least 30 and up to get in through the door.
Yep.
Sometimes they might let you in if the rest of your crowd is older, but they are strict at a lot of places. And that's the whole thing too, right?
Cookies
It's
Cocktail
grown.
Lounge, they let me in before I was 35. They was real
Okay.
nice about it. It was real
See?
nice about it though. But everybody
See?
in there, 55.
Exactly. Like you're grown when you go into that place. Like that's
Uh-huh.
really the energy when you're there. And just, tracing it back, lounges really just started to pop up in Bronzeville as Black people really migrated from the South and made their way here. And there's a historian, Oral Lewis, and he has this famous quote where it's like, there's segregation, which is what separated us and kept us in these spaces because of discriminatory practices. But within these segregated spaces, there was congregation in which we really built things that became rooted to us, rooted in us, and continued to expand to other neighborhoods as people gained more access to finances and could move to the Chathams, the Inglewoods, the Auburn Greshams, and those became predominantly Black neighborhoods. Like everyone has a favorite lounge. So the Family Den, people knew the Licorice Lounge, the Red Peppers Lounge. Like there's just so many. But yeah, this story just really dives into why lounges are a big thing for Black Chicago and why they will continue to be.
I love all the love the Family Den was getting during the Bears magical season because for me, it was always just called the Den because my grandparents who moved into Calumet Heights, late 50s, ever since the Den opened, that was my grandfather's spot. I remember hearing it all my life. Oh, he over at the Den. I'm going to call over at the Den. I'm going to call over at the Den. And so to see them sort of get this this new shine. I really appreciated this article, this deep dive. And I love the map that you all included. One thing Block Club love to do, they're going to throw a map in there with some of these great places. You mentioned some.
Tavia, thank you for doing this. I actually, uniquely enough, just had an author talk with Ariane Nettles, who wrote the book We Are the Culture.
Yes.
And it's just so timely. I was born in Galveston, but grew up in Evanston. So I've always just had an affinity for Black Chicago and just the rich history that is through the streets in the neighborhoods and how much of an imprint Black people have made on the city. So it's just, again, another example of how, like, we have been here, we're still making things cool. We established the cool. And
Exactly.
so
That part.
just period. And so it's really cool to see that these lounges are still up and running and they're, serving Black owned spirits. I think one of the pictures, the young lady is pouring John Bazil tequila, which, again, a Black owned tequila from here in Chicago. And I really do love that wherever you turn in the city, whether it is lounges, restaurants, museums, you're going to find Blackness, from the north to the south, east to the west. We are here. And I just appreciate that you wrote this during Black History Month. So thank you.
Dear CityCast listeners, today is going to be a good day, and here's why. Dear Evan Hansen is coming to the Paramount Theater in Aurora. If you've got any theater folks in your life, you have definitely heard them singing this soundtrack before, and for good reason. 6 Tonys, a Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album, national tour after national tour, and a story for every single person who just wants to be seen. A Little White Lie becomes this enormous blizzard of untruths, taking lonely, anxious teen Evan on a wild journey towards love and acceptance, even when you make mistakes. Catch Dear Evan Hansen February 4th through March 22nd at Paramount Theater in Aurora. You do not want to miss this deal. Get your tickets today at ParamountAurora.com. Every episode of CityCast Chicago ends the exact same way, and that is with some good news. Not my best, not my worst, but I'm going to end it early. Chastity, what is your good news for us today?
Honestly, I'm just happy it's Black History Month. Like, I'm
Talk about it.
very just being Black in America right now. There's a lot going on, but there's still joy. I think, Jacoby, as you were talking about, just how evident of our imprint on Chicago is from all over. We are all we got. Full stop. And so I do want to also just encourage everybody who is Black, just find joy this month. I think one of the things that continues to stick out to me is how we on social media, we will find memes. The one that we are literally running with this week is Durand Bernard when he won his Grammy, and he's just booking it, because if you're a fan of his, you just know how long he has really been in the game. So just again, enjoy, connect with your people, love on your family and friends. And I'm Black, y'all. I'm blackity black.
I'm blackity black and I'm black, y'all. 100%. And get outside. The DuSable has Paris in black. MSI has the Paul Tazwell and the Black Art Jury exhibition. Black Restaurant Week. So many concerts and shows. Chicago Theater Week just started. And some amazing companies around the city is putting on good work. And please check out our events calendar at chicago.citycast.fm. Our newsletter is working tirelessly to keep it updated with events all month long. Atavia, over to you. What is your good news for us today?
Yeah, my good news is kind of personal, but very exciting. So I'm an auntie. Everybody knows this because I talk about them like they're my children, but I'm the auntie on the mom side, meaning I'm by default cool. I'm the best when they come and hang out with me, they already know. But now there's a new addition. My oldest sister just recently had her son, and he has been added to the crew now. Starting him off young in the hospital. She had some movies playing on her laptop, rooted in Black culture. She had some music playing. She said he was born during Black History Month, so he will know it from straight out the womb moving forward. But yes, just so excited to welcome him to the crew and to be an auntie once again.
Oh, that's so
Auntie
beautiful.
life is the best. Like, I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with my niece, and she is my child. If I could claim her on my taxes, I would,
Yep.
because just the investment. But
Exactly.
congratulations.
Oh my God. I absolutely love my nieces, Zuri and Zion. Zion just turned 10 at the end of January. So I went out there. We all played Rock Band together. And it's the coolest thing because every time I go, right, even if it's just a couple of weeks, like the longest I may go without seeing them is maybe 3 or 4 weeks at a time, but they age years in that time. I'm going to close our good news out. I am back on stage this Monday at the Moth at the Den Theater. I would love for y'all to pull up, come say hi. And if you're excited about, maybe getting out there, performing, getting out your comfort zone this year, then please put your name in the hat, get on stage to tell a 5-minute story. We would absolutely love to have you there. The theme is, of course, during this Valentine's Day week, love hurts. And so there's going to be a lot of interesting stories up there, but the drinks will be flowing and we're going to have a damn good time. So I will see y'all on Monday. You can find a link to tickets in the show notes. Before you turn this off and switch to some other inferior podcast, please join me in thanking our guest today, freelance reporter and wine and culture expert, Chastity Cooper. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure always.
And from Block Club Chicago, Atavia Reed, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. This is always so fun.
I want to ask one huge favor for you if you made it to this point in the episode. In our show notes, not only are you going to find links to all of the amazing stories we discussed today, but you're also going to find a link to our latest audience survey. We want to learn more about our audience, how the podcast and newsletter are serving you, things you'd like to see. We're just trying to get a better sense of who the people are listening and how we can better serve the larger community. And also, you are going to enter yourself in for a chance to win a $100 gift card. And so, even if you just trying to get the prize at the end of the rainbow, I will go ahead to the show notes, click on the link, and this is going to mean a lot to the show. I got to give a huge thank you to every single person who makes CityCast Chicago what it is, including our executive producer, Simone Alicea, our producer, Michelle Navarro, our newsletter editor, Emmy Mack, our social media manager, Rick Homuth, roving post-production this week by Elizabeth Kama and Jesse Weiser, and roving newsletter editor, Natalia Aldana. The music we all love is from my homie, Sam Thousand, all the kimonos, and Mark Greenberg from the Mayfair Workshop. I want to say shout out to all of our CityCast Chicago neighbors. You becoming a CityCast Chicago neighbor validate that what we do is having an impact, but it also helps us to sustain this entire operation, from the podcast to the newsletter and so much more. And so I really mean it when I say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to be back bright and early next week. I hope you enjoyed all of the episodes this week. If you just tuned in today, please go back. We got some fun stuff for you. I'll talk to you next week. Peace.